War is a difficult process. We don't always encounter the same events. Sometimes the progress of an army can be fast, while sometimes the progress of an army can be slow. This situation brings with its different claims. However, not every claim is always true either. Sometimes claims are also one of the weapons used in war. This is also a method of psychological warfare. We are facing a similar situation in the war between Russia and Ukraine. Obviously, there is a psychological war situation in the Ukrainian fields as well. Hello everyone from the news section of the Pioneer's Daily Map Update. In a moment, we will examine the latest situation on the front line with a map. According to the latest reports, the confliction between the Ukrainian army and the Russian army is scattered across the 5 sectors of the front line, especially in the Vuhledar section of the Zaporizhia front line. Quite remarkable developments are taking place. So, what is the latest situation on the front line? Let's see it together. As the Pioneer continues to bring the Russia-Ukraine war to your screen, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss our map reports and daily reports. I'm also reading all your comments. Please continue to express your opinion about our content in the comments. Let's start our map report today with the Zaporizhia front line. Yes, first, let's see the Zaporizhia front line and the map from the wide angle. Let's start with the latest situation in the Robotny line. There are regions that we often mention when we're talking about the situation here. Robotny, such as Kopany, Novoprokopivka are some of them. We see that the Ukrainian army has been putting pressure on these regions in recent days. Let's take a look at the Kopany region on the map first. According to the latest reports, an attack led by the Ukrainian artillery units was launched in the region. Now let's look at the Kopany region on the map. The Ukrainian army is attacking Kopany here from the east. According to the latest reports, we know that there have been clashes in the suburb of the region. In fact, it would not be wrong to say that there is an effort by the Ukrainian army to expand the front here as well. Now there is also a Novoprokopivka district here. As a result, the Ukrainian army had reduced its attacks in the direction of Robotny and concentrated on this region. Here, they concentrated the attack of the Ukrainian armed forces from the northeastern direction towards Novoprokopivka. It is also reported that the Ukrainian army is expanding its areas of dominance in some areas here in this region. We can talk about a multi-layered attacks here. We know that the Ukrainian army has distracted the Russian army by constantly changing the focus of its attacks on view before. We can say that the Ukrainian army has mainly been implementing the strategy in recent period. And will it work? Will we see it in the coming days? Let's end the developments related to the Robotny section of the Zaporizhia front line by examining the recent attacks of artillery units. As you know, both Ukrainian artillery units and Russian artillery units are working hard, especially on the Zaporizhia front line. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units hit the Ukrainian positions in Malaya Tokmachka. In contrast, it was active in the Ukrainian artillery in Novoprokopivka and Novoprokopivka. Now let's continue our report with the Vuhledar section of the Zaporizhia front line. Here we see that Novomairovsk is gaining more and more importance. We have stated it before, the Ukrainian army is expanding the front. This leads to the expansion of the Russian army over a wider area. In other words, the thick Russian defense lines are getting thinner and thinner. Recent reports confirms that some units of the Russian army has been shifted to this region. So far, the Russian military has carried out attacks in the region. However, it failed to achieve any significant gains. The puny Russian offensive force was unable to overcome the Ukrainian defense in the Novomairovsk. We can say that the Ukrainian army is in defensive positions in this region. However, based on the past period, it would be wrong for me to say that this is a loss of power. We know that the Ukrainian army has previously moved to defensive positions at many points and made gains by going on to defensive gains after a short period of time. The Ukrainian army is wearing down Russian troops during the period when it's in defensive positions. This situation also allows the Ukrainian troops to have the opportunity to advance faster as soon as they go on the offensive. Therefore, the Ukrainian army may have started preparing for a new offensive by taking a defensive position in the region. Here we also see that the artillery units of the two armies are active. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units hit Ukrainian positions in Yorkhay and Stromoyorsk. Ukrainian artillery units hit the Russian positions in Priyotny, Zaporizhia, Stromoylinka, Kermenchek, and Novodonetsk and Novomairovsk. Now let's continue with the latest developments on the Donetsk front line. There is not much activity here again. We are facing a similar situation with our previous reports. Russian troops continue their attacks in the direction of Marinka today. However, unable to make any progress, the Russian troops were forced to retreat. The Russian army is suffering heavy losses in the region, especially during the Marinka operations. But despite this, the Russian army does not give up its insistence here. Actually, the region is not very important from a strategic point of view, but I still think that the direction of Marinka should be followed carefully. Let's move on to the Bakhmut front line by referring to the artillery activities in the region. As you know, when we talk about the Donetsk front line, we often include artillery attacks, because the map doesn't change very often. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery attacks in the direction of Marinka, while Ukrainian artillery hit Donetsk and Grilovka. When we look in the Bakhmut front line, we see that the Ukrainian army continues its operation around Klishchivka, Andreevka, and Kordomoivka. Some sources report that the Ukrainian army has captured Andreevka. However, we have not been able to provide confirmation of this information so far. Andreevka is an important region. As you can see on the map, Andreevka is located south of Klishchivka. Therefore, the entry of this region into the control of the Ukrainian army will further facilitate the Klishchivka offensive of the Ukrainian army. Today, Luhansk, i.e. the Northern Front, was even more active compared to the past days. As you know, the Ukrainian army is also moving here often, trying to distract the attention of the Russian army. According to recent reports, Russian troops have carried out a series of attacks in Serbianka forest areas. However, the Ukrainian defense force in the region managed to repel these attacks. Ukraine is again in the defensive positions in this region. Therefore, just as what we have said about the Vuhledar section of the Zaporizhia front line may also apply to this region. We'll watch and see. And what do you think? Do you think the Ukrainian army's strategy on the Zaporizhia front line has been successful? Do you think the Russian troops are burned out? What is the next plan of the Ukrainian army? Mention it in the comments. I'm reading and caring about all your comments.